iHeart Podcasts. Hear more Gold 101.7 podcasts,
playlists, and listen live on the free iHeart app.
Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor. Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor.
On the cutting room floor today, are you a bit of an entrepreneur?
Not really. Are you?
Not really, no. When I was a kid, I used to have a mowing business. This is before Jim's Mowing. And it started off, I'd use my dad's mower, and I'm mowing dad's lawn. And the lady across the road, she said, would you be able to mow my lawn? I'll pay you. And I went, yeah, okay. And then she gave me $5, which was a considerable amount of money.
What did you do with that money?
Well, I
Bag
just
of mixed lollies?
I kept it, and I went, oh, okay. And then the guy next door to the lady said, would you mow my lawn? What are you charging? And I said, what do you reckon? He goes, I'll give you $10. And I went, oh, okay. So that lady was giving me $5, and then the dude 10. Then all the street, I ended up mowing the whole street. So I started putting money back into the business. I bought myself a whippersnipper as well. And I used my dad's.
You?
I would have been about 14,
Wow.
13. And then I went to boarding school. So I lost the business, but I gave it over to my...
Lost the business.
I lost the business. But I gave it over to my brother and my mate Casa. You know Casa.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, one day the lady, the OG, when I came back from school holidays, I went around and I said, how's it all going? She goes, look, I'm sorry, but I just couldn't work with your brother and his friend.
Why?
Because they would sit there and argue in the backyard about who was doing the whippersnipping and who was doing the mower. And she said, one day I just heard them talking about dog shit for about 20 minutes because, back in the days, that was when no one picked up dog poo.
Yeah.
So they just, I'm not mowing over that, And then she said, she gave them $20 and said,
to go away.
Just go away. So when I built that business, it took me probably about a year. They destroyed it in 2 mowing sessions. And that's the story of my brother and Casa.
What happened with the roller that went into someone's front yard, though? Is that a different story?
Oh, that's for
another Ginger Meg's adventure.
That's for another 60 seconds.
Whose business was that ruining? Not yours.
That was just us being
children,
youths. But I do like the stories of entrepreneurs, and I don't know if you're aware of the group called Swim Shady. So it's a former NRL player, and they've got these shirts and stuff. They're a sun protection,
right?
And they've called it Swim Shady, and you can wear it in the water, and it looks good.
I've seen that. They're shirts instead of rashies.
Yeah, and you look like a bit of a tool in a rashie. But these shirts look like...
And they say, I don't know if this is that brand, but you can wear it straight out of the water and 5 minutes later sit in a cafe, it's dry and it's like
dry,
a shirt.
and it doesn't look like...
I'd like to get one of those for me. Do they make girls' ones?
I don't know. It seems to be a man thing, but I'm sure they would. But they've come foul of none other than Marshall Mathers, the original Slim Shady, Eminem. So
so this is called Swim Shady.
Swim Shady. So they're suing, Marshall Mathers people and him are suing for, I guess it's copyright on the name Swim Shady.
Will they have to change the name?
Well, I hope not. Eminem is renowned for protecting his brand after being embroiled in multiple lawsuits over the use of his likeness and music catalogue. And a judge would deem that the people would be confused.
Of course.
Swim Shady is it a line to Slim Shady?
No, it's not. It's a line, but it's a pun on it. So you think, fair enough. What's next? 50 Cent's going to sue the Australian government for having 50 cents? Come on, people.
That could happen.
But
I've was doing a show on Channel 10, I think, and they had a bunch of AC/DC pinball machines. So the new AC/DC pinball machine had been released. They had a bunch of them, and I did a report on it. And then we weren't allowed to play the music of the AC/DC pinball machine. You could play it on the AC/DC pinball machine, not on camera, because it's been authorised by AC/DC. But once you put that on TV...
Right, it's a different deal altogether.
It hasn't been authorised.
Yeah. I remember once going to LA with the living room. We were the only people in the history of the universe who went to LA but were told to not film the Hollywood sign because it was owned by Hugh Hefner and he might sue us.
Really?
Imagine if he sued everyone who had filmed the Hollywood sign.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Where do
Copyright.
you draw the line? Come on, folks.
Luckily for us, no one's ripping our stuff off.
No, funny
'Cause
about that.
We've already stolen it. And if you steal from us,
You've stolen twice.
Everybody, it's time for Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor. It's a cutting room floor.
what's on the cutting room floor today, friend?
My son sent a photo the other day, and I had such a flashback. And I
Which
think
son, Jack or Liam?
it was Liam who sent it,
Mm-hmm.
but Jack also responded to it saying, what a weird time. And many of us would have memories of how weird, well, all of us will, memories of how weird this time was. It was Christmas Day, 2021.
Oh, yeah.
Jack had just had his school formal, and this isn't the very...
Did he actually get to have a school formal?
That was the
that
very last event before everything closed down for lockdown. But...
Because 2020...
let me just tell the story.
Yeah, I'm just trying to... See, now
2021, Jack had his school formal. This is pre-vaccination. This is all borders closed. This is... Oh, no, the borders weren't closed, but it was pre-vaccination, all of that. And nearly everyone at that formal got COVID.
Yeah, right.
This was the first cases we had ever heard of in our community of COVID, and it was Jack's school.
So that would have been Christmas at the end of 2020.
Is it? Well, he thought it was Christmas 2021. Is he a year out?
Because there was a bunch of, and it's funny how you say that because, okay, let's go timeline. 2020, that March of 2020, that's when ScoMo did the big breakthrough announcement. You were hosting Dancing with the Stars, and he said, you can't go out, you can't do anything. And then we had lockdown 2020, and I always thought the Christmas of 2020.
Well, anyway, it was
but
either 2020
then it came back for the cash and prizes.
Well, what happened here was that this photo shows Harley's taken the photo. It's Liam and I sitting on a couch. Jack is smiling. It's Christmas Day, but Jack is on an iPad.
Yeah.
He was in isolation on Christmas Day.
That's right.
And what had happened was he and a number of his friends all got COVID around the same time. And a group of them went into one house because someone's parents said, okay, take the house. We're going to go down the coast. You take the house. So 4 or 5 of them went into isolation together, but they were all very, very sick. As a parent, it was very alarming to not have him live at home during that, but it was so much easier that they could roam around a house and we could roam around our house. Yep. So, but they're all very ill. We forget what it was like before vaccination. Yeah. And then when the daughter of that house had come out of isolation, the family wanted the house back. So Jack had to come home. So we went down the coast and Jack was on his own for Christmas Day, and our neighbours very kindly wrapped up Christmas food, put it on the doorstep for him. And then a week later, their daughter had COVID, and she's been, I think it was her holidays, sitting in the pool outside while everyone else was inside the house. Oh. But you forget what it was like.
You do.
You forget what it was like.
Yeah.
And I had prepaid for all our family, my Queensland family and everyone, my dad, my brother, sister-in-law, my niece and nephew, to all meet in Noosa. And I'd prepaid to rent a house. And because I was a close contact of Jack's, we couldn't go. That was the days where Anastasia Palaszczuk
was going nuts for it.
Yes, if we would have had to go into isolation in Queensland for 2 weeks in a hotel. And so I was every morning, illegally, I took my dog for a walk at 4 a.m. and I cried and I cried and I cried, and I'd cross the street if I saw someone because I thought I can't afford to breathe on them. You forget how it was.
Yeah.
And it's all right for people now to complain about our vaccination program and being forced vaccination. We forget what it was like before we had vaccinations.
It is true. And my memories are dim of it now because, and it feels, and this is why we forget about worldwide pandemics. This has happened before to us worldwide pandemically. 2009, for example, we had swine flu. But
we weren't locked down.
No, but they still had a lot of cases. There was a lot of cases, a lot of people that were in ICU, more than what was actually in ICU at the time when we went through COVID. And that's what I used to look in the Sydney Morning Herald. They had an article about we had 1,500 ICU beds in New South Wales, meaning that they were fully ventilated beds. So 1,500 people, if they had that, would be fully intubated, and they'd be full-on looked after. we nenever got to that capacity.
No, but we could see the footage from America where bodies were being put into the back of vans and mass graves.
And some people will say, like I was talking to a dude the other day, he goes, did you get vaccinations? I said, yeah, I think I got about 5 or 6 of them. And he goes, why'd you do that? And I said, well, I just didn't want to, I've been getting flu shots since I was in my 20s. I've been vaccinated for everything else. What does it matter? Like really?
Why wouldn't you?
Like I drink like a fish, like there's a million other.
Your body's a temple, one of those temples that monkeys throw their feces around.
I didn't lean into the conspiracy theory. I had a mate that was telling me that there were 5G, like little tiny microbots being injected. I said, dude, that is the most nuts, unhinged thing.
But people
as well. But I don't judge people for not getting vaccinated either, because a part of it is there was a great fear. You didn't know.
Of course.
With AstraZeneca, all of a sudden we're getting it, and you're thinking, what, am I going to get a blood clot?
No, that's right. But having said that, people are looking back at that time and saying, why did we have to do that? We've forgotten why.
Yeah.
We've forgotten how hard it was.
And you know what? In another, 95 years from now, when it comes around again, everyone will be saying, oh, hang on, what?
Well, this is like childbirth. Do you think we'd have more than one child if we remembered exactly what childbirth was like?
You just got to keep on living.
Yeah. I'll let you know when I have my next baby.
Well,
we'll have a radio competition, and the Guinness Book of Records will be there too.
Hey, 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 everybody here's some more Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor. Hey, 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 get ready, everybody, here's some more Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor. Hey, 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 are you ready for more?
On the cutting room floor today, Gen Z are ready to quit their job over
bathroom anxiety. This is interesting. Many Gen Z, you said Gen Z?
I say Gen Z, it just rolls off the tongue.
Gen Z Washington. Gen Z's in their people in their 20s. They're saying here that the workers are reporting feeling uneasy using office bathrooms with worries about noise, privacy, awkward moments becoming a recurring stress point. Some even say a single embarrassing incident has made them think about leaving, highlighting how small discomforts can influence how younger employees view their workplace. I wonder if this is COVID.
Oh, yeah.
This is the generation that did a lot of their schooling at home, a generation that hasn't had those social norms, and privacy was an easier thing. You're not living your embarrassments out in an office setting and might be working from home a couple of days a week. I wonder if this is one of the fallouts from that.
Yeah.
Because toilets are embarrassing. Work toilets are embarrassing. For men, probably not so much. For women, hugely embarrassing.
Some people are more open about it than others.
Yes, they are. I wonder are they people who've come from big families or people who went to boarding school? You're a bit of both.
Yeah, well, I went to a big family and boarding school, and you just had to go. You go to the toilet. That's what you had to do because you lived at the school.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was difficult. And in the workplace as well, I remember I used to work at a factory making aluminium casings for various things, and you'd run off to the dunny to go and kill 20 minutes, and then you'd have the boss banging on the door. What are you doing in there? Because you've been off the factory line for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think in the main office here, I try not to do a WP.
Explain.
A work poo because, there's a good chance you're going to run into someone that in there.
Does that worry you? Girls would rather go into witness protection than have to do that. But guys don't seem to mind.
Well, and then there's some people like Brad. He one day, I'm just at the urinal and he walks in to go for a Borrington, and he's just chatting away, and then he's doing a big poo.
Don't stop. I don't want to hear. I don't want to know this. I don't want to know.
But he's talking to me while he's going through the motions, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and I'm washing my hands. I'm thinking, well, at what point do I wrap this conversation up? Because
I wish you'd wrap this one up.
He can't see me. But I'm outside and he's going, anyway, what about that?
I know, terrible.
And then I'm going, hey, Brad, I'm leaving the room now because I didn't want him to be awkward that I've left the room and he's still talking to an empty room.
Well, that's when you have to say, I'll leave you to it. Drop what you're doing.
I'll leave it.
This is, but remember, we used to work at another radio station that was very masculine.
Yeah.
And no one cared. The guys just didn't give a rat's.
Oh, they didn't care at all.
There's a certain freedom in not caring, but women care enormously.
Yep. Yeah, well, when we worked at that particular radio station, everyone would go in there in the toilet for a smoke.
Yeah.
And this is back when I used to smoke. So we'd all go in for a smoke. And I remember the boss, Dobbo, me and Gibbo were standing
I'm pulling a face because I know this story.
He goes, he says, "Are you guys coming in for a smoke?" And Gibbo goes, "No, but I'll go in for a shit." So
A social poo.
yeah, so we're having a smoke and Gibbo's just in the dunny having a Borrington.
My younger son was working at a pub and it annoyed him that he didn't like the idea that half the cubicles were taken up by people doing drugs
Right.
when he's trying to work. So he'd go on his break, sit on his phone and do a number 2, and people were snorting expensive drugs all around him while he was just stinking up the place. That was his kind of revenge.
Well, and that's the weird thing where you're so cavalier. You know, my big mate, my mate Tone, we're one day at his house and he lives just down the road from a Pizza Hut and we were getting pizzas. So we walked down to the Pizza Hut and while we're to pick up the pizzas and the guy said, "Oh, mate, there'll be another, 6 or 7 minutes." And Tone goes, "I'll just go next door to the dunny." I said, "We're just at your house." And he goes, "Yeah, I've got to do a shit."
Oh, language, Brendan, please.
So that's him talking, not me.
Oh, of course, sorry.
And I said, "Hang on, your house is like literally 100 metres away. Why wouldn't you wait till you got home?" And he didn't care. He just picked up Drum magazine and just walked into the pub toilet for a pub poo. Who does that? Except your son and Big Tone.
Well, my son was working, didn't have an option.
Yeah, but didn't you have to go and do...
Oh, come on.
Wasn't there a situation you had to go to a pub, an inner city pub and do a number 2?
Did I?
Yeah, you were telling me about it.
Oh, okay. Well, don't share the news. I want people to think I don't have normal bodily functions.
You didn't walk in with Drum Media, though. You walked in with the form guide.
I hope you've enjoyed this delightful conversation.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor.
On the cutting room floor, the stuff that we couldn't get to on today's show.
I'm going to ask you a simple question.
Yes.
Do you practice witchcraft?
No.
You don't think you do, but maybe you do and maybe you have.
Okay.
Do you want me to keep going with this theatrical voice?
I don't know. Do you want to...
Am I overselling?
You're getting the villagers together here?
I'm going to put your head on a stick.
Okay.
Well, these are, I saw a list of these, childhood habits that were actually witchcraft. Childhood habits that we did as kids, and our kids probably did them too, but I'll tell you what their origins were.
Go.
Sleeping with a favourite stuffed animal.
Right.
Every kid does that. But apparently this wasn't just comfort. It was spell work for protection. Should we have some oogity boogity music or some ethereal music? Grab me some ethereal music. The theme from Bewitched.
Yeah, she's a witch. Hot witch too. And compliant. She was a compliant hot witch.
She's a witch who would do the housework.
Yeah.
All right, well...
And she wouldn't use her magic powers, although if I was married to her, I would be saying, "Okay, honey, let's conjure up some..."
What would you conjure up? More money so you had a better house?
Yeah. So
if she could conjure up something, wouldn't she have a more handsome husband?
I thought he was all right.
Nah. Iteration
Darren?
1 and iteration 2 were both ugly.
Well, they were both Dick York and then Dick Sargent. They
Yeah.
changed dicks.
Yeah. She liked Dick but needed a different one.
She stayed with the same dick.
Let's get
No,
back
she got 2 dicks.
Let's get back to this. Sleeping with a favourite stuffed animal. It wasn't just comfort, as I said. It was spell work for protection. Children intuitively charge objects with emotion, turning them into guardians. And it's an adult. You can recreate this by keeping a small charm or crystal on your pillow, letting it absorb your energy each night. Do you do that, Brendan?
Brocky was into the crystals, remember?
Yeah, he was.
I think that's when Holden cut him loose when he said, "You know what? We've got to put some crystals in the cars." And the Holden people went, "Okay, mate.
Maybe you can just
Thank you, Peter."
Maybe we just get a girl called Crystal to sit in the car.
Well, yeah, I think that was the whole problem that he had.
What about this one? Wishing on the first star. Classic celestial magic. And you know it's old world magic because it's spelt Magick.
Oh, yeah.
Children believe the first star listens more closely. And many traditions say it does. You can return to this by speaking one clear, simple wish to the night sky and trusting the timing.
Oh.
Remind me when it's bin night. Blowing on dandelions.
Yeah.
You thought this was just making a wish, but blowing dandelion seeds is an old form of air magic with a K on the end. Each seed carries your intention into the universe.
Right.
You can do it consciously now by whispering what you want and visualizing the seeds delivering it to the right place. Making potions out of leaves and petals. Have you ever done that?
No.
I've seen you cook.
When I was at art school, we'd get some leaves and we'd...
What, Brendan?
Nothing.
This was your first bit of kitchen witchcraft. Kids stir, combine, and mix with pure intention, which is the essence of spellcraft. Try recreating this energy by making a simple herb infusion while focusing on what you want to call in. Interesting, as they say. They called it witchcraft when women healed with herbs, but science when a man put it in a pill.
Right on.
Staring into the rain from a window. This is early scrying. SCRYING. I haven't heard of scrying.
Scrying.
Gazing into natural movement to slip into a soft, intuitive state.
It's nice, isn't it?
You can bring this back by sitting quietly during rainfall and letting your mind wander upon clarity, blah, 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 blah. I've got one of those apps that I've downloaded. I haven't had to use it yet, that where you recreate the sound of rain so you can go to sleep.
And do you use that?
No, because it makes me anxious. I haven't closed the vagola. What about this one?
You don't want your vagola open all night.
Talking to the moon.
Yep. No.
Stop that. That's what I say. Kids.
Only maddies do that. Isn't that like kids, mental people do that?
Kids naturally speak to the moon if it listens because energetically it does.
I've never spoken.
Well, you would have as a kid.
No, I didn't. I know myself as a kid. I speak to anything and I never spoke to the moon.
I imagine you as a kid would have looked for the man in the moon.
Yeah, definitely.
And I reckon your neighbours would have stopped you mooning.
Yep.
Collecting special rocks was your first crystal practice.
Yeah.
I can see you getting bored. How about one more?
Yeah, I am.
Drawing symbols on a fogged up window. D&B doesn't count, Brendan. You were unknowingly casting sigils. Sigils?
Yeah.
S-I-G. Oh, don't wrap me up.
Yeah.
S-I-G-I-L-S. Kids draw hearts, swirls and shapes that carry emotional meaning.
And a good old D&B.
Why do I bother?
Maybe you should go and talk to Uranus. Bewitched, 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 bewitched.
Yeah, 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 it's Jonesy and the man is coming flow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get ready, everybody, here is some more. Jonesy and the man is coming flow. Are you ready for more? Yeah, 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 it's Jonesy and the man is coming flow.
On the cutting room floor today.
Now, this probably is rage bait, but I'm going to read it out anyway.
Go on.
Tesco's, which is a UK supermarket, has renamed its Christmas trees evergreen trees, and they're calling Christmas cake fruit cake. And people are saying, why are you stripping us of our traditions? Discuss. Furious customers have branded the store hypocritical, suggesting it's rebranding Christmas, but someone has said, hey, Tesco's, you don't want us to have Christmas anymore, but you'll still take our money.
Yeah.
You know, all that sort of stuff.
I was at my local Kmart store and they had festive tree instead of Christmas tree.
What percentage of our population, I know we're multicultural and different religions, etc., and people who don't have religious affiliations, but I think
they don't celebrate Christmas.
No, but people would still accept the nature of a Christmas tree at Christmas. You either have one or you don't. No one's forcing you to have one, but you don't need to rename them.
No, and you're right about the rage bait. I don't know if, and this is where it comes down to virtue signalling when big corporations.
What does that mean?
Well, it means that, hang on, I'm going to, before there's any offence taken or caused, I'm going to nip it in the bud. And that happens a lot with stuff.
I saw a story this week, and I'm glad we didn't do it on our show. Some other radio stations did. Oh, now we're being asked to ask our baby's permission before you change a nappy.
Yeah.
It's just rage bait.
Yeah, that is
the papers lean into this too. There'll be one person who wants to stop kids singing Christmas carols, and that'll be the headline.
Well, there was one time.
Let's keep it all in perspective.
On the talkback radio stations, they had a thing about how they were going to cancel Easter. Easter was gone, no
Who
more
was
Easter hat
suggesting
parade.
that?
And that was the thing. And then when you got to the nub of it, no one had suggested it.
No.
But what it does is people buy into it. They ring up the radio station. They're outraged. Oh, I can't believe this.
But the media outlets, like we fill 3 hours, we fill 3 hours a day. Media outlets and content creators are looking for stuff to talk about constantly. So they lean into this stuff because it fills the space.
But we could make up all sorts of stuff. And this is what Joe Rogan does. Joe Rogan is very good as a podcaster. What he does is he asks people's questions about anything from vaccine efficacy to Donald Trump's election campaign chances. And what he does, he tells people what they want to hear. So in a way, we could quite easily be like that. We could say, the vaccines, they do cause autism or whatever, or we could say any of those things. But I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a radio DJ.
But I do appreciate the science.
Of course, you understand the science.
But I take this job as a broadcaster. I think it's a privilege, and I take it with the a responsibility.
Sure.
I know we like our poo and our wee jokes and all that kind of stuff, but the information matters to me.
Yeah. And
I do not want to disseminate
Yep.
misinformation.
But I've noticed there's a lot of rage bait in the motorcycling world, particularly from various social media posts. They'll have a car cut me off, because everyone's got a helmet cam now. So and you can see the car coming from miles away, and the rider's blowing up deluxe. And you think, is he doing that just to get rage bait? Because people go, oh, that's outrageous that this car has cut this motorcycle off. When in actual fact, the motorcycle has no doubt seen the car. The car certainly hasn't seen him, because that's just what happens when you're on a motorcycle. But there's this victim mentality which gets put out and becomes rage bait. So therefore you get more clicks, more likes, more followers.
And not just that, the tech companies themselves know that people lean in to conflict and anxiety.
Exactly.
So you stay online longer,
Yep.
and they make more money that way. And so even simple things like a woman I saw the other day who was making a tiramisu in her vegetable crisper.
Yeah.
And she said, look how effective this is. And it's just to inflame people.
It's just rage bait. And now, remember in the old days when you just followed what you followed. That would all pop up in your feed. Now the algorithm just gives you whatever that you click on, good, bad, or ugly. If you click on it, that picks up what you're into.
And you know what?
Apparently.
Your screen, it follows your finger scrolling. So even if you're clicking on something just out of curiosity, it will register that, which is why you get flooded with more and more of it.
Yep.
So I try not to lean into my lower self by clicking on clickbait.
Yep.
Because that just feeds on itself.
But also on that, have you seen all those phone bots? So you've got places like China where they've got just banks and banks of phones, Android phones, and I've got fake Instagram accounts, and their AI is making them comment. So they're fighting with each other fighting with humans.
But if it's not for political gain, or what's its gain? Is it just to keep people online longer?
Yes, and it's all about advertising, as sure as we do. And we're probably a bit more thick-skinned about it because we've been in this business for a long time. And when I first started, they used to say, sell the sizzle, not the steak. So the thing, it was about what the smell of the steak is. It's not about the actual steak. That's not what you're selling. You want people to go 5 minutes more. So someone will listen to this and you want them to stick around, so they have to listen to 5 minutes of ads and then they'll come back. You have to be that compelling that people will come through. What's happened in time now, you've got pop-ups that come up on your screen. There's all sorts of different advertising that pops up, but it's all part of the algorithm.
I stopped listening when you said steak because I'm a little bit hungry. So who's selling that steak then?
Lone Star Steakhouse and Saloon.
Glad I waited for that.
Sit for today, come back tomorrow for some more of Jonesy and Amanda's